Today we're talking to City manager Ian Allinson after the Saints have turned attention away from the FA Cup and back to National League South in big style. A 5-1 victory, and it's a win in which people would have expected us, but it could have been difficult because they changed their side recently, changed their managers, and we had to scrap until we got that first goal.
Yeah, exactly. I think you just summed it up again, David. The fact is that, looking at their side over the last 2 weeks to what played today, I think there was possibly 9 or 10 changes from the side that played 2 weeks ago against Whitehawk, and then obviously against Maidenhead last week. So it was always going to be tough because the players that they've brought in are good conference players, and we had to work extremely hard to wear them down to get in front. And once we got in front, I felt some of the quality we showed and some of the goals we scored was excellent.
I felt we started reasonably well. Then Stortford had a pretty decent spell. They only shot on target during that time, but they were coming from chances where we tended to give the ball away a bit too easily. Then we stepped up again just before half time.
Yeah, exactly, and we just started to overplay. We did it at Ebbsfleet a couple of weeks ago in the first 20 minutes. We overplayed. They punished us big time that day by scoring 3 goals. Could have had 5. Today, we were fortunate because we gave the ball away in poor areas, but we want them to play. But there's areas we play and areas we don't play. We gave the ball away a couple of times in poor areas, and they never managed to punish us. We defended quite well on those 2 little occasions where they had 4 or 5 minutes of pressure, but I felt we recovered from that and finished quite strongly going into the half time. Could have quite easily been 1 or 2 up by half time. Their keepers made a couple of good saves, and then second half, as I say, we've had to work extremely hard before we managed to break them down.
It took an hour for that first goal. Were you starting to get concerned then? The chances were coming okay?
Not really, no, because we've got Junior Murray's back today, we've got Tom Bender back today, and the bench I had today was an excellent bench in terms of maybe changing it with half hour to go. So we wasn't far away from making a couple of changes, and it might just liven it up again. So it was important we got the goals when we did, and then I think you see when we brought Junior on with sort of 15, 20, maybe a little bit longer, 25 minutes to go, he was a real handful, and it shows what we've been missing over the last sort of 4 or 5 weeks.
His qualities. He was in great form before he got his suspension, but that allowed Sam Merson to come in. He had 5 before today. He got his 6th goal in 4 games today. It's a terrific run.
We can't ask for any more, and all we can keep doing is just keep creating chances. And it's funny with Sam because the easy chances he misses, the difficult ones he scores, and it was a fantastic header, and he's planted it straight back across the goalkeeper. I think it's actually hit both stanchions before it's actually gone in. So great goal, great. David Noble for me was the best player in the park today. I felt he controlled the game from the start to finish until we took him off with 10 minutes to go. But for me, it was a great performance. It was great for Theo to go and get 2 goals after a bit of a barren spell. I think he hasn't scored for 3 games, which is a barren spell for him.
And Junior Rice on the score sheet as well, so all the forwards got on there.
This is important because I think now if you add up the goals they've got between them, that's up well over 20 between 3 players. So that's important, I think, and that we've got to just build that confidence. We've obviously got a tough game going into Truro next weekend now, which we've got to go and make sure we pick up maximum points from that, because once we come out of the FA Cup, whether it'll be Carlisle or later in a round, we need to make sure that we're in this top 5 or 6 of the league if we're going to try and push for the playoffs this season.
Rare thing for Stortford to get a goal at home. Are you disappointed with that, or were you quite happy to accept 1 when you score 5?
I'm disappointed from the fact is I felt we gave the lad too much time, but I mean the shot was a fantastic shot, and talking to James afterwards, he said it moved all over the place. But again, if you want a perfect day, you want a 5-0. But to be fair, the boys responded really, really well, because obviously that made it 4-1, and then we got Junior's goal in the last, I think it was probably an injury time to cap a final round performance.
You mentioned Junior Morales coming back from suspension, Tom Bender back in the starting line-up. Was it difficult making the changes today?
Not really, no. I mean, I felt we probably missed Tom's bit of balance he gives us in the back 3, back 5, back 4, whatever we decide to play. So that was obviously a big decision. It was an easy decision to bring Tom back. The big one is obviously Junior coming back in for Theo or for Sam, because the pair of them have done well in his absence. And the one thing I believe is if players are playing well and they're scoring goals, then they'll stay on the side, and Junior's going to have to be patient before he gets his opportunity to stay on the side. From what we've done today, we might just liven it up a little bit next week, but they're all things that I can plan and work on before we go into the Truro game next week.
Tom Bender, that goal had been coming before his suspension. He'd gone close several times, keepers making great saves, Woodwork denying him. His suspension very unlucky, it's just a missed-time tackle. Should never got a 3-match ban for that. But it must be nice for him to at last get his reward.
Well, I spoke to the referee after the game, because obviously there was a tackle late on Tom today where he cleared the ball up the line, the lads come in aggressively and caught Tom, and for me that's a worse challenge than what Tom made when he got a 3-game ban, and that's the inconsistencies that we look for, and we have one referee who will send somebody off for that, and one referee produces a yellow. So you look for that consistency. But the hardest thing for me, for Tom, was he got a 3-game ban. If you make a challenge and it's a fair challenge in terms of trying to win the ball, which he did, for me it's maybe a 1-game ban, but a 3-game ban is a big blow for the lad. But also you have to look at how players react, how teams react, and how people make referees' minds up by reacting in certain issues. For me, that was never a red card at Ebbsfleet a couple of weeks ago. Today, for me, that's a worse challenge on Tom, and he could have left the lad not seriously injured, but certainly in an injury which could have missed the next couple of weeks, which is a big couple of weeks for the boy after being out for 3 weeks.
As you mentioned, Truro City at home next Saturday, and players have got to focus on that game. A lot of attention's on the Carlisle match, but that's more important in a way.
Well, they've been told this week in no uncertain terms is that the next 2 weeks are massive. We worry about the Carlisle once we get the London Coney game out of the way, which is sort of 8 days away now. So let's get this one done today, which we've done. Let's get Truro out of the way, London Coney out of the way, and then we can start planning, preparing for Carlisle. We've obviously had them watched again today. I believe they've won 2-1 at Stevenage, so they've now gone 14 games undefeated. So it's going to be a tough game for us. So we've got to make sure that we plan and prepare properly. But the most important thing for me at the moment is 3 points against Truro. And
you're going into these games with what looks like pretty much a full squad?
Well, we have got a full squad, unless we pick any injuries or illness up over the next couple of weeks. It's good to have that squad going into the November period. So we've shown at times, how good we can be. We've still got a little bit of inconsistency in terms of where we play, what we do. We get a little bit sloppy when things go easy. So they're all the things we have to keep working hard on players, keep pushing players, because the players are the ones that make the team at the end of the day, and they're the ones that have got to keep concentrating on what they're doing and doing their good things correctly, and making sure they don't get any displacency come into their games. And if they do that, then obviously with the squad we've got at the moment, we can swap it around so everybody knows they've got to play to the maximum. They've got to play to their full potential, and if they do that, they'll stay in the squad. If not, then we've got players that can come in and replace them.
This week just gone, 2 players have tied their futures to the club for quite a while. Sam Merson, 18-month contract, and George Casey as well.
Yeah, and also Oren Swales has signed an 18-month contract with us as well, which is a bonus. So Oren's been a bit unfortunate. He's not in the 16 today, but he's a player that we watched closely at Kings Langley and a player we watched closely at in the youth game. So again, he's 17. It's a great addition to the squad. He's got blistering pace. George Casey obviously has come in and done a great job at fullback. Again, I think George is only sort of 19, 20, and Sam's the same, sort of 20, 21. So again, we're looking at all these younger players, trying to tie them up on longer term deals, which is what's happening. It's great from the club's point of view is that we've got these players now for a period where we can go and work with them. We don't want to work with these boys and then we lose them to clubs that feel they can come in and just take players off our hands, and we've got to stop that. At the end of the day, if the player, we want a player to go on to a higher level, then it'll be on our terms, not on somebody coming in and putting 7 days in and just taking the boys. So at the moment it's going well. At the moment we've got players committing themselves to the team, and the whole squad's come together nicely with the experience of Ben Martin, the experience of Lee Chappell, the experience of James Russell and David Noble. We've got a nice blend of experience in young players.
Lovely, thanks so much, Ian.
No problem. David.
Just a reminder then, Saints next in action as a week today on Saturday the 29th of October when Truro City are the visitors to Clarence Park, National League South. Kick-off is at 3 p.m.